Hey, team players, and welcome back. This is another Superflex. It's gonna be great. Gonna see how this goes on underdogs, making it all happen. As always, we're gonna give you guys a chance to answer all your questions. We're gonna be able to let you guys jump in here. Let us know when the draft is. You guys can be in here with us, duel draft together. It's gonna be a fun one. Let's do this. So yeah, guys, let's figure out why the hell this isn't working. There we go. It's been a technically challenging day for me, guys. It's basically a super Bon Jovi Friday, and this is where we're at.
Bon Jovi? Right, wait, Bon Jovi's on Friday.
Bon Jovi Friday is when you're going to take Friday off.
I was going to say,
I got a double stack of that.
I didn't know Bon Jovi was coming to Pittsburgh right
That's
now.
A technical term right there.
I thought, is Bon Jovi still alive? I thought Bon Jovi. Let me do some Googleration here and see.
Some Googleration, baby.
Oh, the best. I thought Bon Jovi passed away.
I think he's still with us, Bob. But
you think? No, still alive.
I'm pretty sure. And for everyone watching, we're gonna be launching our first one here at 3:53 for the 22nd version of the Superflex.
Well, Bon Jovi is John Bon Jovi's the singer. He's still alive. I thought, who was the guy that passed away a couple years ago?
Meatloaf.
Came to Pittsburgh all the time. I can't remember. Anyway,
Seeger, Meatloaf.
I don't know. What? See, when it comes to these bands, I know your dad loves Bon Jovi. I just remember sitting there in the parking lot while you guys were listening to, while they were playing over at PNC Park. That was a wild weekend.
I thought that was Billy Joel, dude. I think you were all over.
Billy Joel?
Yeah.
I think it was Billy Joel. Yeah, was Billy Joel? Did Billy Joel die?
Billy Joel did die.
Okay, all right. So that's.
Or he had at least cancel his tour or something. At any rate, we're gonna start this live draft here.
He's alive too.
Jeez, we're all over around poor music math. We don't know how that works. We know how we're gonna be doing a live 20-second underdog Superflex.
All right, what are we clicking up here? 353?
353.
Oh, man, there's only 20,000 entries still left in this tournament.
Gotta hustle, man. You know they're going to redo it all summer long.
Yeah, but they're going to do it. They're probably going to redo it, but, with a cheaper option and less money. So,
could be.
Is it worth it? I don't know. We'll see. I was talking to you the other day. I really want to get in on one of these eliminators. I think the eliminator, the way that it's, balanced like the eliminator right now is really interesting because it's basically just a bunch of head-to-head competitions.
Yeah, the head-to-head competitions, and you cannot double down on bye weeks.
What's up, Jamie? What's happening? If you want to jump in on the Superflex, there's 5 people waiting to get in on the underdog Superflex. We just joined in on 5 people still in there. Yeah, I mean, I was just looking up the eliminator today, Joe, and I think that it's really interesting because a lot of people are going to be pushing week one to get out of your 12-person pod, and I think there's something to say for that. But again, disappointing. But there's something to say for that because when you look at how the eliminator is structured this year, and again, I want to do an eliminator next week.
Sure.
Based on how it's structured, it feels like DFS cash games, but it's actually not, because what you want to really hit is kind of the median outcome for players. And when they boom, it's nice. But when you get out of that first pod, when we're looking at eliminators, again, we're doing the Superflex right now, 3 people. We're still waiting for 3 people. But when we look at the board,
you got to stop clicking. The scene is the button. It's not even loaded yet.
And we see that, as you go in for each matchup in the future, all you're playing against is one other person. And when you look at it and you see, okay, week 14, you start making a lot of money. Week 14, you're up to 10 grand. So if you make it and you keep winning, you're kind of week 10, you start making that money that's in the thousands. Then you start making that tens of thousands. So I think that a good strategy to approach this eliminator with is Obviously, you want to be cognizant of where your bye weeks are, but I think you get a little bit of an advantage for everybody if you can make it out of that week 1 pod by not building for week 1 and just kind of capitalizing on value as the value falls to you. I think that Eliminator has such a interesting kind of makeup. Again, I get 8. Every time I'm on air, I get 8. Every time. And you got 1. This sucks. This sucks. Put it up there. I can't believe it. 1 and 8.
Here comes Lamar, baby.
I was like this weekend, or not this weekend, but yesterday I was doing a couple, and I was getting pick 1, pick 4. DraftKings was being nice to me. I got pick 1 and pick 4 in DraftKings. So again, though,
Eliminator over here to Underdog, and they all just hate you. So we have 1 and 8. Are you going to see each of our drafts with completely different mindsets? This is the Superflex that we're diving here. Bob is in charge of team number 8. I am in charge of team number 1. And that's how you're going to see this thing go down. And really the cool part about this is we're far enough apart where we're not going to be poaching anyone. Really.
No, and honestly, to tell you the truth, like I've been doing, and you guys have seen it, I've been doing so many of these Superflex drafts that there are so many different varied strategies that you can approach this with. And depending on how the room shakes down, I think that both of these teams, a lot of teams, we see a lot of teams that might mess it up by taking a position that is a little bit of an overreach. But when we look at the first 4 picks, it's pretty standard. We have seen this time and time again where nobody's really taking Chase, because if you do enough of these, you're going to get pick 5, pick 6, and you're going to take Jamar Chase. So the first round is pretty much basically the same thing each time.
Well, for the first 4 or 5 picks, yeah.
Right, with a couple variations. Then comes the second round where you start to get that variation on quarterbacks. And quite frankly, that there is a reason that you can stay away from the second round quarterbacks because there's enough of them come the third round. But it really depends upon your willingness to wait. If you're willing to wait and the board shows you that you can wait, then most people are going to, I think it's going to be okay for most people to wait.
Well, I can tell you from the one hole, I am not taking a quarterback on either one of my turns. I just won't be.
Hey, I think it's smart. I think it's smart enough to I did one the other day where I took a quarterback running. I was at the one hole. I took Lamar 2. I went quarterback, running back, quarterback, running back, quarterback, just to kind of see how it would play out. And we've been talking a lot about, you're losing your positional advantage. And I definitely lost my positional advantage there because I could have had, again, it's a solid team that was constructed out of that one spot with Lamar. And I think that, when you go to this approach of maybe sticking to just 2 quarterbacks in the first 5 rounds, it will pay a little bit more dividends to you. I'm under that impression, wholeheartedly.
I think 2 through 5 is the right spot, but also recognizing this is underdog and that running backs get pushed harder. But as I've also mentioned, receivers are kind of positioned correctly. So I haven't been able to get super good value on receivers late. So one of these picks that they come to me is going to be a receiver. One's going to be a back because Bob can't take them both.
No, I can't.
Who we going with, Bob?
I've been clicking Devon Achane so much the last couple of days. I know for most people, Achane is a 3rd round guy in Superflex. But with the news of, with that news of Jonnu, I think it really positively impacts. I think it really positively impacts Achane. And
I agree with that.
When I'm sitting up there, usually in that 1, 2, 3, 4 spot, I've been clicking a lot of Achane, and I usually don't click Achane with Gibbs. And so I think that taking Achane with Gibbs frees up that pick 32 for me to go after something else. Taking Bo Nix, you usually don't take Bo.
Wasn't me.
Oh, that's okay. That's Fantasy Caddy. That was my fault there. Yay, what's up, Rabona? How's it going?
Absolutely, I don't usually take Bo, and I'm not going to start now.
So we are going to, after this draft, guys, if you're in the chat and you want to join, after this draft, we are going to queue up another one. So this one just started. We're doing Superflex today. We were talking.
And we are answering all Q&A along the way. Yeah. And for those watching on the replay,
appreciate it, man.
Catch
Appreciate
us live Mondays and Wednesdays at 3:45 Eastern. And also feel free to send your questions in
Joe's
the
queuing
comments.
up. Joe's queuing up Nico right now. Joe's queuing up Nico right now.
You know it. And who else, Bob?
Nico and Bucky are his boys.
Yes, sure is. I have them ranked as my number one of both. This draft right now, I have my number one quarterback, running back, and receiver.
So we will next week. We're going to queue up a draft on DraftKings. So we're going to for sure do one on DraftKings next week, along with an eliminator next week on Underdog. So we're going to do 2 super flexes today, and we're going to then queue up next week some DraftKings, some Millie Maker on DraftKings, and definitely some eliminator as well. So knowing this, like taking a look, like these quarterbacks just ran through the quarterbacks here. And as you look at this side of the room, pick 16, 15, 14 quarterbacks as well. I am probably going to jump on a quarterback here. Depends upon which one I want, because I do think I'm going to get some value on the comeback in round 4. So I am going to queue up a guy that I really like, potentially as a he tends to go as a second QB sometimes for some people, so I'm losing a little bit of the advantage there. Passing up on Amon-Ra hurts, passing up on BTJ hurts, but I won't get him on the comeback. I'm going to go Jordan Love as well. So look at that. Look at all the quarterbacks in the third round.
If you guys go 11 straight quarterbacks, that would really just hurt. Kind of root for it now, though.
But here's the crazy thing, right? Is Amon-Ra usually goes up to pick 27, pick 28. He's going to fall down here to the Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey owner. That's going to be wild. I've never seen that. Christian McCaffrey,
This has been, there it goes, 9 straight.
Yeah, BTJ I've seen. So here's my thoughts on Waller. Waller came out of retirement, and pretty much he's been an injury-prone guy. We've seen him be successful, for a season or so. And he's 32, going on 33. And right now, with only really one good fantasy year under his belt, 2019, he had a year similar-ish to Trey McBride, Brock Bowers. 2020 was his best year with 1,000 yards, 107 receptions, and 9 touchdowns. I see it as being a move that doesn't make much sense other than to save money. I don't feel that you're getting a lot of fantasy value in Waller per se. I do think that there is a chance that Waller can have like a 5 touchdown year, but let's be honest here. Like, you're signing a guy who
I don't think Waller can get the 5. I think that's a little aggressive.
Again, you signed a guy who has been retired for a year and who had a big injury concern. The last 3 seasons that he played was relatively pedestrian in terms of numbers. I just don't think he definitely just needs the money right now. I don't think that when you look at Waller as a fantasy tight end, that he's going to be super relevant. I mean, maybe you take a chance on him in best ball in the very last round here or there, but he's definitely not a guy that I'm filling my portfolio up with. He's kind of like in that same kind of discussion as, can a guy like Amari Cooper hit? Can a guy like Keenan Allen hit? Yeah, sure they can hit. And the cost is free. So why not take a chance on him in a couple of drafts, especially if you built like Tua out? But insofar as that's true, I don't think it's really a player. And there's going to be a lot of creators out there and some TikTok creators as well who are like, oh yeah, he could be a guy that's under the radar. Everybody knows Darren Waller, and everybody knows that he's not under the radar. So people are going to spend their fat. People are going to overspend on him because of his name, because of the potential landing spot with Miami. But
it's not a good landing spot.
But this really just tells me that McDaniel wants to go in a different direction. I mean, using
it tells you exactly what I told you on Monday. Waller. They were going to put a cheap, irrelevant asset there, and that's what they did.
Yeah, and
a 7th round pick and no money.
And seeing that, the OC and are friends with him, I mean, that's a nice little off-season kind of wrinkle, and to get us to talk about Darren Waller. And again, Joe, back in 2020, he had the chops for a great fantasy season, but we're 5 years past that, and we're 5 years in the hole to say, is this going to be?
He also was forced the ball in 2020. He is so irrelevant on the pass catching list. He's at best a blocker, and he's not really great at that.
I definitely don't think he'll be forced the ball.
He won't be. Tyreek will be.
There's a really good conversation to say that will not be a priority for them to get the ball to Darren Waller.
Nor should it be.
We're going to take our second quarterback there.
Just now, leave me none.
This build, as you can see, guys, Joe is in the 1 hole. I'm in the 8 spot. Joe went very clearly winning out on that competitive advantage, taking guys that are really high up on his board. Number 1s, number 2s at the position that he has.
I have my number 1 and number 3 receiver.
So coming back around, the reason I took a quarterback there is coming back around. I see that 12 doesn't have a quarterback. I also see that
Penix.
He has 1 quarterback, but I also see that the other 2 guys are sitting at 2 and probably want to build a third one. Knowing that this guy went Bryce Young, he's probably going to go Tet on the comeback at 62. That's
Richardson.
Richardson at 60 is not a good price to pay on Richardson. I know it because
I was going to pay Richardson at 72, which felt right.
Yeah,
that might have even been a little bit of a stretch.
Richardson down here at 84 feels even better.
He wasn't going to make the turn on me.
There's 3 guys that I want still on my radar here. Tyreek, Marv, and Garrett Wilson, all guys that I'm looking at. I think my running back room is pretty solid, so I'm willing to pivot now towards the back end of that. There goes Garrett Wilson. If Tyreek's there, I take him. If Marv's there, I take him. I'm actually shocked that the person didn't take.
I think 2 is the right pick since you have 2. Hill is just a natural fit for.
Well, I got 2 of Tyreek and Achane, so I'm okay with that. What's happening, Bones? Just enjoying a Superflex right now. A couple days before the 4th of July, we see a nice run on wide receivers here, Joe. So coming down for you at 72. I mean, it's a risk if you want to keep punting quarterback there.
No, I have to take Shook. He's the only starter left.
Yeah, I think you gotta. I mean, Russell Wilson's not a bad get if you wanted to push Russell Wilson at.
I mean, I got to take. We're down to New Orleans, Pittsburgh, and the Giants, and I got to take one of them. I'm not taking both of them. I got to take one of them.
King, this is my question. Like, I think by the time probably like late July. Right in those first weeks of maybe that first week in August, we'll have a very much a clearer picture of what the Cowboys and Jags are going to do at running back. I do think that a guy like Travis Etienne, he's fallen so far down most boards, and he's getting picked up a little bit higher now. But Travis Etienne's a guy that could potentially be worth investing in, because we saw that with the Bucs organization, at least, that they were still giving Rachaad White, who was a very inefficient runner, opportunities. Even when Bucky was doing well, Rachaad White came in to kind of finish games. So if you see a pathway that the Jags will be similar to that, I think that Travis Etienne at his price, not in Superflex, but in regular leagues, is probably a good buy. I like Tootin a lot as well. Tootin has the chops to kind of get that receiving upside in Liam Cohen's offense. I think that Etienne, when we talk about loving Etienne, am I in love with Etienne? Absolutely not. But he's a guy that could potentially have, especially in best ball weeks where he's going to hit your lineup, especially if you built like a 0 RB kind of team. I think that when we look at the grand scheme of what they're going to do, though, Tank Bigsby's value and Bajal Tutin's value are much better than Etienne. So a lot of people are going to pile their portfolios in with them. I really do think that Bigsby is really not the answer.
No.
We've been talking for a couple, like almost 2 years now, where Bigsby's good enough. Bigsby's good enough for like a week or two, but then like not amazing for them. He did look 100 times better. You're absolutely right. But we're talking about in a whole subset of a season. I think Tank Bigsby for a couple of games is good, but I don't know where Tank Bigsby would stand in the long-term aspect of your full season. I really think that they'll utilize all 3 running backs, to be honest with you. And there's going to be weeks where it's going to be a nightmare to own them in redraft. But I think if you're taking them in best ball, their prices are right enough to kind of just be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna take a chance on that. I think that when we look at LaQuint Allen, Jamie, I think that LaQuint Allen is definitely one of those guys that you could say, hey, like let's build him into our lineups a little bit more. I don't want to take Waddle here, but I might have to.
Triple stack.
Diminishing returns, but I can't pass on him. I'll just take them, whatever. So got Miami guys. Going to have to pivot really hard here, taking a couple of different bye weeks coming down. Probably stack up Love with Golden. Probably not with I know I won't get Downs because Joe's going to take Downs.
I'm not taking Downs on this turn.
Maybe take.
So if you want Downs, you got a turn to get them because I'm taking them on
I thought about Rome there, to be honest with you.
You didn't take your boy Ridley.
I didn't take my boy Ridley. No, the correlation isn't there. I think he's going to be all right, though. Let's see here. When does training camp begin for the Jags?
Probably last week in July.
Yeah, July 29th to August 8th. So we'll probably get more news on that situation come then. But I really think that it's going to go Travis Etienne, Bigsby, Tootin, and then LaQuint, and then you're going to get a hodgepodge of them throughout the season because Liam Cohen, we saw if a running back is doing well in Liam Cohen's system, that running back is going to get time. And so if that's the case, all of those players are going to get time. And when it comes to Jadon Blue, Javonte Williams, I can't get in on the love for, and I see your question, Bones. I'll get to that for sure. I can't get in on the love for Javonte Williams. Again, Javonte Williams and Travis Etienne are 2 guys that for me, Travis Etienne does have like top 24 upside, but Javonte Williams does not. So Javonte Williams is one of those guys. He's another year off another injury. He looks rather pedestrian last year, even when given opportunities. He had 1 game, I think, where he really spiked, and that was it. So Jadon Blue has a real opportunity to be successful, but I'm not quite sure if Dallas will give him the full run of things very early. So I think the first half of the season, King, we're going to see a lot of Javonte, and then probably towards the back end of the season, we're going to see a lot of Blue. Ooh, that's all right. All right, we're going to go Godwin here. I think getting Godwin down here.
Very good pick. Godwin is a very good pick.
As that, I really need to. I want to build Likely into this lineup. I hope I get a chance to get Likely, to be honest with you. We'll see what happens.
We will see what happens here.
Debo's a tremendous value here. I know, in January and February and March, I was really talking down on Debo, but his value has plummeted to the point where taking a couple of shares here and there of Debo is not bad. But I can't take another week 12 guy.
Because that offense could go off.
So with it looking like he won't be facing serious charges, where am I drafting Diddy Bones? I think as at the reach around, if I had a reach around somewhere back there in the 17th, 18th round, that I would take a chance on Diddy. But as it stands right now, he's probably going to slip past my fingers. All right. I think I'm going to take. Oh, no. Yeah. Okay.
I was hoping that either Tracy or Warren would slip back to me there.
No, you didn't get either.
Back pool starting to slip up.
It's starting to go down real quick. I know
you just hated on Javion Williams, but
One guy in my dynasty family said blew all of his fab on Waller, $98. Two spent over 50. That's insane.
Waller's not going to
is,
do anything.
Waller looking at what you said, Jamie, and family,
guy.
I think what I said earlier about him being like a red herring. I mean, he's one of those guys where in dynasty, why? Like, go after somebody who has potential. I mean, like, I just don't see the potential to be successful. I mean, I see a ceiling for him as being maybe 600 yards and 5 touchdowns, maybe in this offense. It's not a direct replacement for a guy like Jonnu. I mean, the system is what it is, but again, like guys like Durham Smythe weren't people you really wanted either. Gesicki gets traded over to, Gesicki goes to Cincinnati, and it's just one of those things where I'm just not a fan. Oh, you went Mark Andrews, nice.
I got Lamar.
I was hoping you went Andrews so that I could take Likely.
Well, again, Andrews is still the dude. They're still besties. Even though he dropped that pass in the playoff game, he's still beloved.
I think unless he gets traded, I mean, that's a phenomenal spot for Mark Andrews because he's, like I said, I was getting into an argument with somebody on Reddit. Like any tight end that is on the Ravens is going to get looks in the red zone. I mean, it's inevitable.
It's how they work. Yeah.
It's inevitable. All right. So we're going to take Kraft there. A little early on Kraft, I think, but again, the tight end pool for those people is washing up just a little bit at this point. Who knows if they'll keep it there?
Yeah, well, the cool part is I don't need to do another tight end. I got my 2. I spent a 10th and 11th on them, and I don't need to do another one.
Yeah. Hopefully I get a chance to draft the wide receiver that's next up on my pool here. Taking him a little bit early, like a round early, because he won't be there when I come back. I know that.
Yeah, again, we've always said there's nothing wrong with getting your guys. There's nothing
getting your guys at value.
Getting
your guys at value is even better.
Well, yeah, but getting your guys is still getting your guys.
Yeah. In the 32-team league, 32-team leagues, anything with a chance of value is worth blowing your budget on. I can see that. I've never really done a 32-man league, so I think that it would be really. I actually think it'd be really fun to do a 32-man league.
See, the problem that I would inevitably face in the 32-man league is 20 of them aren't going to care. And as a result, what's the point?
Yeah, in Dynasty, though, family, this is what I'm trying to hit at. In Dynasty, like, if you
took Bateman would not coming back to you. I can tell you that.
If you're spending that much on a declining asset, your money's in the wrong place. Like, you should be investing in guys that maybe will have the chance for future stuff. So, like, guys like Malik Washington, guys like Jalen Wright, who are on people's teams. But, like, if they're not on people's teams, they're worth going after. Roman Wilson is another guy that I really like. Even with the acquisition of Jonnu, he has the potential to really do well. Sean Tucker, Kyle Manungai, I would rather spend money on those guys than really try to punt with Waller to that degree. In terms of the app drafters, what do you mean by that, King? Do you mean like having like an overlay? I've looked at certain overlays and stuff, but I'm kind of old school. I just kind of have to remember the schedule.
Hey guys, I built one, so I use one.
He uses one. This
outright.
Family, this is one of the things that I find so hilarious about this whole Darren Waller situation. It's Miami calling them up and be like, "Yo, how much for Waller?" And they're like, "Huh? You mean you want Waller?" And then you come back and be like, "Yeah, I want Waller. I'll give you a pick for him." And it's like, okay. Because he was never going to see the field. Because Theo Johnson.
They had to get, he was going to retire.
Theo Johnson's the future there. Didn't get Likely.
They gave basically as little as they could.
Truthfully, they did. All right. We're going to queue you up. All right. I've been seeing Jade on blue falling a lot. I think this value is really good for blue. I'm actually surprised, Joe, you didn't take your boy Keon Coleman. You're on to something, Joe, because I was giving you the rib for a while about drafting Cedric Tillman earlier, but I have seen him go early. Like, I know you drafted him at 145, but I have seen him go earlier and earlier.
I have him ranked as a 5th round value on my board. I mean, garbage time still.
But look at this. I think this is funny. Like, Cedric Tillman, I know you took him early, but again, he is in that same.
Well, his ADP is basically where your pick is coming up right now.
His Superflex spot is close to Cooper Kupp. I mean, that to me is a little crazy, if I'm being honest.
Be honest, baby. Don't you lie to me.
Could go that angle. I'd like another wide receiver, but I don't really like the wide receivers that are here. And I think I could wait a pick there to get these two guys. So that's kind of what I'm going to do, I think. We're going to take a guy where I just kind of shit on him a little bit, but we're going to take Bigsby to wind out the room. So I've got 3 week 8 buys in that running back room. Gibbs, Connor, and Bigsby. I do like Trey Benson to go against, Connor later in the season, but getting a nice little comeback to Chase Brown in that game, I kind of like that. Keep those players away from the Kyler and Joe Burrow owners. Yeah, Bobby Bonilla Day just passed. So, Joe, I think we need to, touch on that a little bit. Is Bobby Bonilla has been getting paid so much money in the last, how many years? I feel like he is the king. He's the king of this. Again,
or he's the king of having an agent who actually looked out for him.
Every July 1st.
Paid all that money up front. He would have blown it all on coke. Now
every July 1st,
you get the paycheck every year.
You get your $1 million, and you get it until 2035. He is getting paid $1 million. He's 62 years old and getting paid $1 million every single year.
The Mets bought an annuity that would do that. This really is the story of why you should buy an annuity.
It's so good. It needs to be celebrated.
This is financial planning 101.
Did you say buy it and get an annuity?
Yeah, that's all it is.
All right. We got two players on the board here. All right, I'm going to take – okay. We're going to take Otten there. Yeah, I mean, he when 2035 hits on Bobby Bonilla, it will be a sad, sad day. That guy's going to be 75 years old and still getting $1 million. This is like you said. What'd you say?
Will he still be alive?
I think he'll still be alive. I mean, how could you not be still alive if you're getting paid $1 million a year?
A lot of guys don't make 75, man.
I mean, he could have owned a bodega somewhere and be fine. Like the guy's like, oh yeah, everybody knows who Bobby Bonilla is. If he's still even living in New York.
If you saw a picture of Bobby Bonilla right now, you wouldn't know it was Bobby Bonilla. I guarantee you.
No, I'm saying everybody knows who he is, who's probably, daily, monthly interactions with him. And he's like, oh, you get $1 million every day. Nobody's robbed them yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still making money.
You don't rob Bank of America.
I mean, again, it probably gives back to the community a lot.
I mean, maybe. So, you don't know this.
I'm betting it's more than you think. Look at the fall of Patty Freiermuth, though, Joe.
I was going to take him, but he should have fallen that much. Look at that asinine wasted pick at Shedeur Sanders.
Well, yeah, you don't like Shedeur, and that's fine. You don't
Never have.
I mean, my wide receiver room is a little thin here, but that's okay.
Read off your receiver room to me, Bob.
It's Tyreek, Waddle, Godwin, Golden, and Bateman. I think that's good enough. I just took Pat Bryant from the Broncos.
You don't got a lot of depth there.
Don't have a lot of depth. It's all right, though. Going to push a little bit. My running back room's solid, though. Investing some high quality. I got Gibbs, Achane, Chase Brown, James Conner, Blue, and Bigsby.
Yeah, you might not be using your second quarterback in some weeks. Like, you might have 2 flexes out of that group.
That's why I haven't gone for a second quarterback. I am probably going to take
you only have 1 quarterback?
I have 2. I have Tua and.
That's what I'm saying. Tua might not hit that lineup.
But if Tua hits it, he's going to hit it with Waddle and Hill. That's
sure is. Sure. Going to hit it hard. All right, so I was hoping that Cousins or Wandale would come back to me, and they go back-to-back pits right there. All right.
Yeah, we can lend you some advice, Brooks. And Jamie is also he's a host of a show that he does every Wednesday as well. So give props to Jamie. Definitely answers a lot of dynasty questions on his show. So you got a bunch of people in here that are willing to help, Brooks. Absolutely.
Absolutely,
so here we
man.
go. Rebuild
dynasty. That's right. This is Superflex. Superflex was 20. I forgot about that.
Oh, you took Milrow and Gordon a little early there, huh?
Well, yeah, I thought it was over.
That's okay. Milrow's an interesting option.
Oh, if Milrow hits the field, he's going to run like crazy. It's just, does he hit the field?
Would you
that's
trade...
one of the things I like about these late guys, these late rookies that people are sleeping on. Milrow's probably the number one example of that. He could go off. Absolutely go off.
He could absolutely go off. I think you should take like a random back end Baltimore player to go with Lamar, just to kind of buck the trend a little bit here.
I ain't bucking nothing. I'm just winning.
All right. Well, I can't let
I'm
that.
just winning.
You know me. I love Alec Pierce for no reason other than like just burning people, and he fell 10 picks, so I'm taking him.
Yes, you. I think that overall the receivers in Indy are slept upon because I think Richardson is going to improve. I do.
Yeah, dude, King, this is what we're talking about. Brooks, I'm going to get to that question in a minute. And I see Jamie gave an answer to it as well. Waller in Superflex at 172 is insane. He should be more free. He should be more free than that. But here's the question. Would you trade McLaurin and a 25-104 for Amon-Ra? I have a wide receiver room of BTJ and MHJ and Olave and a weaker running back room with Monty and Javonte Williams with Josh Allen at quarterback, worried at 1-4. Yeah, I don't see a reason not to. Let's be honest. We have some differentiating beliefs when it comes to dynasty. But if I can get a guy like Amon-Ra who's going to be a talent for the foreseeable future, and I have the opportunity to get him at the cost of Terry McLaurin, who, if you take last year's 11 touchdowns away and you put him back to like his average of 6, he didn't improve on any metric fantasy-wise in any department. Okay? He has been the same wide receiver every single season he's been in the league. A reliable 1,000-yard guy, a reliable target earner, and Jane Daniels unlocked the touchdown potential. So there's a chance that McLaurin will have a lot of value moving forward with Jane Daniels. But Amon-Ra has value right now. And people might be scared about the offensive transition for Ben Johnson, but you don't have to be with a guy like Amon-Ra, because where his value is Goff loves him. Goff utilizes him everywhere on the field. And with a successful JMO opening up things downfield and Sam Laporta doing his thing, there are going to be plenty of touchdowns for Amon-Ra to capitalize on this. And giving up that 104 first, I know your running back room is weaker, but let's try to win this year. Amon-Ra gives you a legitimate chance over McLaurin to win this year. And if you need to, it gives you the opportunity to potentially move a guy like BTJ or MHJ. People are really high on BTJ right now. Maybe you're not as high. If you want to move BTJ into a running back, BTJ's value is much, much higher than McLaurin's, much higher than Amon-Ra's as well. I think it opens a lot of doors for you, Brooks. And I know that, especially in a single quarterback, like Jamie said, Amon-Ra's a guy you do want. I mean, there's no reason to go against that decision. I feel that if you draft two more because he hasn't made a season, 1 out of 2 years. I have Jordan Love, and I'm okay with running Jordan Love. I know Jordan Love was hurt.
Well, I have Zach Wilson on this roster.
I'm not taking Zach Wilson here. I'm going to take.
No, you don't take any of your own handcuffs because when you draft the team, you have to believe that they're going to stay healthy.
I am going to draft another. I'm going to draft 2 more quarterbacks here because I feel comfortable with a 2, 6, 7, 3 potentially here. I might take another wide receiver as a back end kind of guy.
I'm going to end 4-7-7-2.
That's fair. 4-7-7-2 is okay. Again, he could go off. I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. 2 picks away. I'm going to take him, I think. Yeah, we're going to take – I told you guys I was taking Kenny Pickett. I'm taking Kenny Pickett. I know it sounds like a stupid decision, but I'm taking Kenny Pickett. I feel that my room is fairly certain that I'm going to land a running back in my Superflex and or flex spot every week. So I'm willing to take a little bit of a hit if Tua doesn't play. I'm going to take Pickett here, and then I'm just going to take one of these wide receivers that I got lined up. I have Torrey Horton lined up. I usually take Marquise Valdez-Scantling, but I think Horton has the same kind of play style, and he's younger, that if he starts to make a connection to Sam Darnold, that would be really nice. Yeah, I would stick at 104, but I don't think I'm going to get Hampton. And the guy before me is adamant about taking Ted if he's there. I think I want Amon-Ra over Hunter and Henderson. Yeah, I mean, let's face it, Joe, when you look at it, would you want Amon-Ra or would you want Trevion?
What's your running back situation again?
The running back situation isn't good. The running back situation is Monty and Javonte Williams. But
yeah, you need a starter, so you need Henderson.
Henderson is good, but would you rather have McLaurin and Henderson or Amon-Ra? Personally, I'd rather have Amon-Ra.
Yeah, I don't know.
The value. Hey, Nino, what's up, man?
I don't want Tet. I can tell you outright, I don't want Tet. So if the question comes down to getting what other running backs are available in your world that you could snag? Because you need to have a starting running back because
you do. Monty's great. I think Monty's a great option.
Monty's a great option. I'm not hating on Monty by any stretch. I love Monty. He's on my roster right now. But when I'm looking at this, I'm a running back whore. Full disclosure. I never have had enough running backs in my life. So I would lean for that. I mean, I understand your love for Amah, but McLaurin could go insane.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't think he will. And here's kind of the reason why I think McLaurin has a cap value. I think he ended up at 11 touchdowns last year. Here's the problem with Terry McLaurin, right? You can completely shut down Terry McLaurin. In this offense, I mean, there were games where he had like 3 points. So there is a possibility that he doesn't hit ceiling games as often. There was a game last year where he had 2 touchdowns and like 30 yards. And
he was a slow starter. Yeah.
Up until that point, he wasn't like relevant in terms of fantasy value. So like for me, McLaurin is never a guy that's going to pop off. He's just going to be a guy that keeps like your average. So like people taking him in like the 2nd, 3rd round in these drafts, like I don't really see the value in him. But like Jamie says right here, you're trading 2 50-cent pieces for $1. So you just opened up a spot on your roster.
In that regards, it's probably better to keep them all. Yeah.
Yeah, you just opened up a spot on your roster that if you had to end up trading Amon-Ra later this season, like here's the other thing. If you have to trade Amon-Ra later on the season, or you have to trade BTJ later on the season, you're going to get back that first and better than McLaurin.
Hey, guys, letting you all know, because there's a little bit of a lag, we're going to be starting up another Superflex at 4:35. We do the 20-second version. If you want to jump in with us, the Superflex 20-second option, we're going to be starting at 4:35 Eastern.
4:35. All right. And so Jamie, I totally agree with you in that refrain. And I think, Brooks, that like I said, if you need to trade one of those guys later on in the year to get somebody better later down the line, I think Amon-Ra is going to return some value for you more so than McLaurin later in the year. And then you're going to want to keep Henderson no matter what. So, I mean, for me, I would definitely do the trade. What's my thoughts on Tesla, King? I had Tesla queued up. I took Horton, but I had Horton and Tesla queued up. It was kind of just a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. In redraft, Tyler, am I worried about St. Brown's new leadership instead of picking Henry or AJ? You know, when I'm picking at that point, if I'm at the 10, 11, 12, and Amon-Ra is there in a redraft, I'm probably clicking him. But in my redraft leagues that I've been doing with my friends, in my redraft league, we're waiting for 9 people in this one, guys. In my redraft leagues I do with my friends, they are running back whores. And so running back tends to clear the board a little bit more. So I would probably, and I have in years past, taken Henry at that point. Like this past year, I took AJ Brown when all my friends thought I was gonna take Saquon. That blew up in my face in the home league. But you know, when you look at it, it depends really on what league you're going to be in. Here's the thing about like transitions and offenses and whatnot is when push comes to shove, quarterbacks know who they can trust. So if something isn't working, and Goff is such a veteran that if something's not working and the coach, you know, and the coaching staff has something and Goff isn't like, and they're not on the same page, Amon-Ra is going to still be relevant. I mean, like I can't pass up Amon-Ra for AJ Brown, I don't think, but I do think that AJ Brown's target share is so good that if you are sitting there at the turn in your home league, that AJ Brown is one of those wide receivers that I would take.
Yo, Bones, we're queuing up the Superflex right now. I saw that question coming. Queuing it up right now if you want to jump in. 2 left.
I would take AJ over Ladd, and I would take AJ over Brian Thomas.
So, I mean, Bob, it looks like Juan is the first time here to Fantasy Football. If you want to walk him through some of his questions here, we'll get Juan up to speed here.
Yeah. So this right here, Brooks, when I look at, there's Sir Bag Chaser there. He's back. When I look at this situation,
Bob, you're 8 again. Bob, you're 8 again. You're always 8.
8 again. When I look at this,
I'm not getting Lamar in this one.
When I look at this situation that you're in, I do agree with you, Brooks, and I think Joe came around at the very end there that going and locking in your wide receiver core now makes sense, because when you look at the 3 wide receivers that you had, BTJ, MHJ, and if you go out and get Amon-Ra, that talent is going to be there for the next 3 years. And if you need to go out next year and get a running back, sure. And even then, like I said, if you want to go out and get a running back and say this year is not turning out for you, and you want to go out and get a running back mid-season, the running backs will be there. Again, like the longevity for certain running backs in the league, like I wouldn't state my claim to say like Trevion Henderson's going to be the best. And I think that's kind of like the point for me and Jamie here is that he might not be the best. It might be a year learning curve, and you passed up Amon-Ra to get there. You know what you're getting out of Amon-Ra. You can perceive what you're going to get out of Trevion, but you know what you're getting out of Amon-Ra, and you know what you're getting out of Terry McLaurin. Yeah, when Tesla in Dynasty is definitely a big stash. I mean, I think that talent, you can't pass on that. Yeah, like I get it. You know, when you look at the running back room, Gainwell and Bigsby, it's definitely not the sexiest combination to go behind Monty. But again, guys, and Brooks, this is something to think about. Monty is a good player.
Joey B's still there, Bob. Yep,
I took him. I hate taking quarterback here in the first round, but you can't give me Joe Burrow at 8 and me not be excited about that. So, I mean, I was going to build.
Who knows what will happen?
I was gonna build Gibbs, but hey, give me Joe Burrow there. Sure, I'll take it. Week 10 bye. Maybe build in a little bit of action with Arizona. Maybe build a little bit of Week 16 action, because we came out with our schedule there.
Bo Nix has so much variance.
I love Bo Nix. You know, you can't get me not to love Bo Nix. I don't know. Call me crazy. I might go Joey B and H in.
That's
Maybe.
a unique build. I know
is
you love unique builds.
Wait a minute. Is Gibbs going to still be there?
Gibbs might still be there. I want receiver. Gibbs is there, dude.
Shut up. Shut your mouth.
I don't normally go to receivers. This is kind of a little experiment. I want to get out of my comfort zone of being a running back core. But again, Miko Collins is my number one receiver, and CD can carry a team.
Brooks, so, what I wanted to say, Brooks, and I, just kind of repeating myself for a moment, is Monty is still relevant. Now, the loss of Ragnow is gonna hurt Monty a little bit, but again, this offense is super efficient, and I can't see, our the head coach saying, "Oh, we're gonna drastically change everything that worked."
They aren't.
That you went from a losing poverty franchise to a franchise that was actually successful. Even with that OC changing, you're not gonna change drastically. Nope. Because you were winning, and that organization hasn't won in years. So besides Genty and Hampton, which rookie running back do you want in redraft? So in redraft at cost, I want Caleb Johnson. At cost in redraft, I think he's going to have a really good cost to him. Travion, we were high on Travion going into the off-season activities and stuff. And I'm still high on Travion as a player, but I think his cost is outweighed by where you have to take him. Not a huge fan of that. Hey Juan, what's happening? If my wide receiver catches the ball, but it's during a commercial break, do I still get the points?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, sure. That's the funny thing. I've watched the sporting events like WWE and stuff live.
Ooh,
and they just kind of they just take breaks. It's weird. For WWE and stuff to take breaks. Yeah, Travion is great though. I think Travion in redraft, if he falls enough, could be worth it. But I like Caleb Johnson at the price. If I stack my quarterback in as wide receiver and they score a touchdown, do I get double points or is it just 1 point split between them because it's the same play? No, you definitely Juan, when you look at it's my pick. I'm gonna go JT here. When we look at stacking is just you get double the points. So if your quarterback gets a touchdown and your wide receiver gets a touchdown, then you get double the points. So Joe here at 11 might take another wide receiver. Will he be that crazy? What'd you say?
I'll be going running back.
Are you scared enough yet?
I just lost the 3 running backs I wanted. I'm taking one now in a row.
In a row.
Yeah, I wanted Bucky. Bucky's ADP is 37. So I was like, Bucky will slide to me. This could work. Like when I originally built my queue for this lineup, that was the thought. Bucky will slide to me. I'll get 2 great quarterbacks, Bucky, and then I'll take my quarterback in the 4th round. It'll be great. So basically, the difference between this roster and the ideal is Breece Hall instead of Bucky. You say that out loud last year, it's a laughing matter. So, I don't see the Jets having a strong end of the season. I don't see the Jets ever being strong. The Jets. But
that's fair. You hate the Jets.
But I'd love Stroud. I mean, I don't think I've ever hidden the fact of how much I love Stroud. So
you do love Stroud. I mean, I like Drake London here too. People, you're gonna crucify me if I take London, but
that's because I think London is possibly the most overrated receiver in football. Everyone talks him up like he's the next thing. He's the next thing. You know what he is? He's the next Tanks Bigsby. We're gonna talk him up forever. He's never gonna do shit. That's Drake London.
I'm just gonna take AJ Brown.
AJ Brown's a dude. So if you believe, as I do, that Saquon's
look at Jordan Love falling though,
Philly's going to throw the ball like crazy, and AJ Brown could be a league winner.
If my player gets tackled at the 1 yard line 3 times in a game, do I get a touchdown for the effort? I wish. You talk Jerome. You talk Jerome. That's a Jerome Bettis play right there. You get tackled so many times, and then you finally just fumble the ball.
A-Chain did that a lot last year.
I think so, right?
He did. A-Chain did do that a lot last year.
Bones, did you miss it? I think so, man. I think so. Tell us what your team is, though, my man. If my player catches a pass in PPR, Juan, I love these questions. Then fumbles it. Do I still get the point, or does the system know he didn't deserve it?
No, you get a point for the catch, but then you also lose the point for the fumble.
Juan, I would hope that he didn't deserve it. Like if you took George Pickens, all of George Pickens almost catches away, he might have negative points.
That's true.
Maybe. I love it. Hilarious.
He did lead the league in most points taken away due to penalties.
Family saw a dynasty trade, and people either think it's a rip one way or the other. Chase for 2 firsts, 3 seconds, 3 thirds, and 3 fourths, and Shakir. Pick spread over 26 and 27. That's insane. Personally, I think that's a haul for Jamar.
I would never do that trade because I didn't think the league would last that long. I'm so doubtful about people bailing on dynasty leagues. I'd give me Chase now and just let me win the thing for the next 4 years.
Yeah, I'd probably just sit on Chase. If I was that guy, like that's a lot of picks, but I would definitely just sit.
That's also what it would cost. I mean, that's not a crazy cost of doing business.
It isn't. It really isn't a crazy cost, but I think that for Chase, it's a fair enough. If that's kind of your cup of tea. But I just lost out on 2 of the
They
guys.
didn't let Higgins come to you. They said, no, Bob, no stack.
Yeah, well, we're going to
my OS later.
We're going to take Gino. Actually, all 3 of the guys that I was waiting for all went right before me. All 4 of the guys I was waiting for went.
You're looking at the tight end market.
I was looking at McBride for that comeback to Joe Burrow. But an unstacked Joe Burrow, it is what it is.
Oh man, this is lining up the way I did when I pre-lined up my queue.
But that's really insane.
I mean, the only difference I got is I got Hall instead of Bucky. I mean, literally,
this is
exactly
Magic, love it.
How I built this.
Love it.
Now my super flex is admittedly weak right now.
When it comes to Sutton, Tyler, I can go either way on him most times. I don't have if I can get Sutton for the right price, I would probably take Sutton. But most of the time he doesn't come at a good cost. So usually I will pass. 2 week 11 running backs. Don't really like that. That's okay. Took Chuba away. Bastard.
I got Chuba rated pretty high.
I know you took him away from me. I was going to take him there.
Carolina has such a good playoff record. Again, every system is different. These guys do their playoffs 15, 16, 17, and I value those higher. That's why my rankings are so different. I don't care about the macro, what it ends at the end of the season.
Things are going to get really weird in this room really soon, guys.
Dude, I just care about what they do at the end of the year. What are they going to do? 15,
and in regards to Knicks can totally fall flat on his face, family.
So good.
I think the talent is there that a guy like Bo Nix can be successful. The team has shown that they're invested in him by going out and getting Ingram, by investing a little bit more in the wide receiver room, by improving, features of the offense. I think that he can be relatively successful. And Sean Payton has coached up relatively successful quarterbacks in the past in Drew Brees. But again, he's not Drew Brees. So people like to make this comparison that, he's Drew Brees, but he's not. Wow, look at that. That team's pulling off a nice one. So Josh Allen, Genty, Puka, Stafford, Bryce Young, and then stacking Tet to go with Bryce and Puka to go with Stafford.
Tet's going to be a bust, and he has no second running back. And there's not going to be a second running back for him to choose from.
Again, I think it's different enough sitting there at the one hole.
Because again, it doesn't matter.
It does. It does. It does.
If I get the exact same thing in week 17 and it wins 4 different times, all I did was sweep it. It doesn't matter if it's the same team or not. Different is one of the biggest fallacies that people put out there with building best ball lineups. Different is irrelevant. The correct lineup is what matters. That's all that matters.
I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah, so Bones, we're actually doing Scott Fishbowl on Sunday. Sunday's coming with Scott Fishbowl. So
you're drinking during it, right, Bob?
Yeah. I'm probably gonna have to take the bus down.
Oh, so
But,
you get bus drunk. Yeah.
well, I'm not going to get bus drunk, but I just don't want to like drive home if I
All right,
drink
I love this answer, Bob. I love this.
Oh, you know, I am not a fan of slow drafts, Bones. I know it fills the portfolio up, but I just can't really get behind slow drafts so much. I'm going with a little bit of a build that I haven't built so often here. I might buy into him. Let's see if either one of these are available. We'll take them. 2 picks away. I doubt it. Yeah, so family, like I really I really like do I take him early?
Why did you take Travis Hunter?
Correlation. I like him.
But here's the problem. He's not going to have the playbook enough.
I don't care. Like what I'm playing for there, Joe, is that I don't expect Travis Hunter to have to start for me immediately, right? I've got AJ Brown. I've got AJ Brown, Waddle there. If Travis Hunter puts up a couple spike weeks towards the back half of the season, I'm going to feel good because I do feel good with Waddle and AJ Brown as the 2 wide receivers here. And looking at my running back room, I think the running back room is solid enough with Geno that I don't have to fill that super flex with a wide receiver. So honestly, like I'm willing to take a chance there. He has positive correlation with JT. I believe he also has some correlation with some of the other players on the team. So, I am willing to invest in that, especially those 2 back-end games with Indy later on in the season. I'm fine. I'm fine taking a chance on Travis Hunter right there.
You know what I would say I'm fine about? I am loving the fact that the guy on the turn after me telegraphed what every single one of his picks have to be. Really? I am a big fan of that.
So yeah, when I watch wrestling, like I went to the last pay-per-view that was here was Backlash, and it was the one where it was Trish Stratus and I forget who else was fighting in a steel cage. Absolutely insane. And then it was Shinsuke versus Seth Rollins. And it was just weird seeing what the wrestlers were doing on the break. When the matches were over to see how they cleared up the ring. It was just very unusual. There was Raw was in town recently too, but I didn't go to that. I thought about it. Joe, you're not going to be happy with me here.
Why not? Oh
boy,
I'm not happy with that, but it also made my choice for me. Jacoby Myers, the guy who should get a ton of volume. I mean, there's no way around it.
Should be. Bucky CMC, London, Garrett Wilson, non-PPR keeper league, no penalty. Who are you kicking off the squad? Probably Garrett Wilson. I think that you have to keep Bucky, CMC, and London. I think London has a pretty decent touchdown upside in this offense. He's reliable enough as a player. Garrett Wilson's also, fairly reliable as a pass catcher. You have to keep Bucky and CMC. I don't think you can get rid of a running back in a non-PPR league, even though CMC has been hurt. I just don't think you can get rid of them. Pollard did that to me season before last. Yeah. Pollard's one of those players that I am invested in. I would probably take Pollard over Swift at this point in time, just because I don't believe in Swift as a player right now. He definitely has potential to be successful, but the Lions traded him away the first time anyway. So it's like,
And he's only gotten slower and worse. Their line isn't really good. I know they spent a lot of money in the line in Chicago, but it's not that good. So, Bob, there's 2 in a row, though, man. Now we're starting a little spicy.
Well, I know that's a little bit ahead of ADP, but I wasn't going to get him at 128. You had to take quarterback there. So, taking Russ was kind of gross. I've the week 11 buys. I gotta build out of the week 11 buys a little bit here. See where some positive correlation could be and some comebacks. I still don't have anybody for that. Buffalo. All right. We're shaping up fine. We're going to be fine. Yeah, absolutely. Magic. London has so much more upside when we look at how this offense works. Like, if I were to tell you if I were to ask you who is going to be in the red zone more, Atlanta or the Jets, you're definitely going to say Atlanta. And yeah, that benefits Bijan for sure, but it also benefits London. I mean, London is good enough to make his way in the red zone as well. So, I mean, I am 100% keeping London in that circumstance and moving off of Garrett Wilson. But I do like Garrett Wilson enough. All right. It's going to get a little weird. I told you the room's going to get a little weird here, Joe.
Get weird, Bob. Get weird.
You're like, I don't know what to say to that.
They never do.
Got some interesting players still left on the
as
board.
much as my draft started off exactly the way I wanted it through the first 8 picks.
You've fallen off a little bit.
I like Tracy a lot. I really liked imagine a scenario where this might be a very far-fetched scenario, but imagine a scenario where if this coach in the Giants is an every other year coach and they end up getting 10 wins. Russell Wilson is going to play every game and Tracy's going to get a ton of check down shit. Like there's a scenario that could be a steal.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
I mean, there's a little bit scenario doing it. Yeah, but
I mean, how you feel about Tracy, like again,
I mean, I like him a lot more PPR than this format.
Where Tracy's at, like, yeah, he's your 3rd running back here, but I've had him as my 4th running back, and I've stopped.
Yeah, he's my 4th running back. I got 4th back.
So I've stopped. Like, if I take Tracy, usually I stop taking running back until like very late and hit on like a couple of rookies. I think that Tracy is such a strong option to hit a lineup on a week-to-week basis, especially in PPR. I've seen him go much higher in PPR. Bones, the Knicks with Ingram, anytime I build Bo Nix, lost out on Jaden Higgins there. Anytime I build Bo Nix, I will build Ingram. Anytime. Like, if you left me Ingram and Nix, I'm doing it. Like, and especially in DraftKings, I think Ingram's value is right at the point, and Nix's value is right at the point where it makes a lot of sense to do that. All right, who do I want to go here with? We're going to take Mooney.
Man, Ramondre Stevenson is falling like a brick.
He should fall like a brick, but in best ball, he's good enough that, like, hey, if you want to take a chance on him, fine. Mooney dropped a little bit. Usually I don't get Mooney there, but I think that Mooney has enough upside within the framework of my team to be fine. I thought about going Michael Pittman there with Josh Downs. I don't want another week 11 player. Hopefully.
Well, I gotta say, this starting, I never do the 2 stud receivers to start. It kind of feels nice knowing I got Lamb and Collins just chilling out, giving me every receiver battle I have. I'm going to win the receiving room the entire year.
This is an incredible feeling. Like when you're up, like when you do anything, like, and you get down, you taking it nice and slow, you sit down on the toilet, and you just take your time a little bit. And then the wife goes, "Why are you taking so long? What's taking so long?" I'm like, don't ask. Everything's fine. But we're going to be on the clock. We're going to be, doing the slow drafts for Scott Fishbowl is going to be interesting for me and Joe, because like I said, we usually don't do slow drafts. So having the opportunity to do the first couple of rounds in person and then do a couple of the slow drafts is going to be really, I think, an interesting experience for the both of us.
Yeah, I mean, you get one pick every.
Because you never want this to happen. You never want somebody to take the full 8 hours, because that would be just incredibly annoying. Yeah, I missed out. So, family, that's what I was saying. Like, I wanted to go on Monday, but I took my son to the museum, and then when we got back, it was like 3:00, and then we did our show on Monday, and the gates opened, I think at like 5:30, and we just kind of cleared up at 5:30, or I was going to buy a ticket and go down. But I really wanted to go. I've never, the last time I was at a Raw was back in like 1998, 1999. Wrestling's changed so much, but it's been pretty fun. Bones, yeah, definitely come in. They're selling the Monroeville Mall. The Pittsburgh Mills Mall has a bunch of potholes in it for you to enjoy as well.
Talk it up, baby.
And generally speaking, like, our infrastructure is falling apart, but we're not Philadelphia. Did you guys hear that Philadelphia is on a garbage strike? That the mayor was just like, yeah, we're not paying the sanitation workers in the middle of July. Don't put your garbage out. And just like any Philadelphians would, they put their garbage out. So now it's just like a freaking disaster.
So it's like that scene in Endgame when Ant-Man just walking down the street and there's garbage everywhere.
Yeah, in a way. In a way. All right, if he's still there, okay.
Not getting Cedric Tillman is making me sad. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you didn't get Tillman, or you didn't want to pay?
No, Script Crush or whatever. Took him 2 rounds early.
Oh, really?
2 rounds early, yeah.
Wow. 149. I told you he's climbing. Like, he's climbing realistically, like really weird. Rashad Bateman was the guy that I wanted at 161. I was hoping that he would fall to me. I was taking a lot of Swift, Jamie, pre-draft, you said, in the 8th or the 9th, but now he's going early in the 6th. Yeah, I can't do Swift in the 6th. I think I have a couple of teams with Swift later, but now that he's way too high, I just can't do it. Drafting at the bottom half of the draft seems par for the course. Family, yeah, this is the second draft today where I've drafted from the same position, 2 drastically different teams, but from the same exact position. And it's mildly infuriating to a degree. But like I said at the top of the show, I did get picks 1 and 4 in my DraftKings draft just recently, and it felt really, really good. Really, really good. But here's the thing, family. I know we've been talking a lot about how Roshan could be a decent buy. I actually wouldn't buy Roshan right now. Maybe I'd transfer like some of my shares of into Manungai. In Dynasty, I can see Roshan being a guy that many people are targeting. But again, he's just another guy. He's really shown minimal potential. He has a little bit of touchdown upside, but if they do end up leaning on Swift, he has no upside there, especially if, Manungai or another guy comes in and just kind of blows him out of the water. Roshan is Jamie's dude. That's fair. Not one of mine. But I've definitely taken him at some points in time. Imagine a draft where you 2 are 1, 2, or 11, 12. Family, I think that happened. Didn't that happen on Monday?
I think we were 9-10.
9-10, yeah. The 11-12 would be nuts. I don't.
Oh, yeah, because I do to him what I'm doing to this guy here. If you look at what the guy in 12 did, he's balanced himself out now. But he started at the end of the 6th round with 4 quarterbacks and 2 running backs. And I just knew what he was. I just took the receiver before every time when I was going to take a receiver. Like it was,
Bones. This is what was that game? Was it last? What year was it? Where Singletary totally came out of the woodwork and scored like 35 fantasy points. Oh, was that back in 2023? Yeah, that was an insane game. Joe, do you remember that game?
Yeah.
Like Singletary, yeah. So he had 2 games in 2023. The one game, he had 30 carries against Cincinnati for 150 yards and a touchdown. And then he had the next game was 112 yards and a touchdown. And then he had another 121-yard performance. Like, that was nuts. I was dating Roshan's mom until a couple weeks ago. She broke up with me because I traded him for Dylan Sampson. She said, it's not you, it's your running back rankings. I like Dylan Sampson way better than Roshan Johnson. I have been clicking Dylan Sampson in the early tournaments in the DraftKings. I was clicking a lot of Dylan Sampson. I was hoping that he was going to land in a better spot. Joe, that was disgusting.
I got Russ. I got some
I know.
Giants shares.
It doesn't make it any less disgusting, though.
That's true.
Player I want just got queued up. All right.
You want a Thielen?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I'm giving you your disgusting quota of the day.
I probably should invest in another running back. Maybe
I am going to take a tight end on the front end of this turn until Nick Pack takes one. This is becoming a little bit spitish. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I just like Dylan Sampson. I think when we look at guys like Roschon, so Roschon Johnson's ranking right now, ADP 167, and Dylan Sampson is sitting there at 195. I think he just got taken. No, he's still on the board at 195. So you can get Dylan Sampson, who, quite frankly, has the same amount of value as Roschon does right now, 30 picks later. So, like, if it's a decision for me between Roschon or where did Roschon go here? Can't find him on the board, Joe. Help me out.
Where did he go? Let's first see if he's drafted.
He did get drafted. I can't see where he went. If anybody can help me out in the chat, where did he go? Darren Waller at pick 194. Insane.
Yeah, Red Shield.
Insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's the guy in the turn. Yeah.
Yeah, family. That's the issue. You know it with kids. You gotta prioritize your kids instead of your own wrestling well-being. Sometimes it's disappointing, but I think I'll make it. Hopefully I make it. All right. We'll see if he goes, but like I said, I was taking Dylan Sampson here. So
there you go.
6 running backs, 7 wide receivers. Going to queue up another. We'll queue up another wide receiver soon too. I have 3 picks left. I'm going to get one more wide receiver on this team. It sucks that the only correlation or the only stacking partner that I have with Burrow is Gesicki. That's definitely not going to win any hearts. But the fact that I got Joe Burrow and Gibbs on the same team could help us a bunch. It's different enough.
Nah, there he goes. I don't got to do it anymore.
I don't know if you're used to Philadelphia levels of street trash. There's some concerns about that. Family here. Swift going 6 rounds, running backs go early, and someone reaches for Swift way too early. Don't be that guy. Get 2 running backs early. Yeah. That's kind of the way to go about it, is that Swift here went in the 8th round, where guys like Rome, Juwan, Zay, Waddle, and Ridley. So, I mean, it makes his value here in Superflex isn't as crazy as other places. But I think when you look at the room, the value of Swift in this draft specifically is pretty good. If we were sitting at the turns like that, Joe, absolutely. Did you see Family's comment here? We can just be like wide receiver, running back, and just mirror ourselves. Just take 4 straight running backs and then 4 straight wide receivers and just totally throw the room. I think that'd be pretty fun.
So the sidelines look always the same.
I do have rookie fever. Hunter Henry, yeah, Bones. I was staring at Hunter Henry for a long time. But I just couldn't pull the trigger on him at 176, and I was kind of going to take him at 185 when I saw he was still on the board. But I do have another tight end option that I really like at 224, and I wanted a wide receiver there, so I decided to go in there. Definitely a top 10 tight end. Hunter Henry, and here's the other thing too, guys. I know that, this isn't going to be much news to most people in the room, but if I have Drake May, I am to be a little bit different with my build. If you don't want to build Hunter Henry early, I would not be opposed if I had Drake May, and I've done this a couple times, of taking Austin Hooper. I mean, Austin Hooper in half-point PPR, Hunter Henry in full-point PPR is going to be where you want him. But in half-point PPR, I think that Austin Hooper has just enough touchdown upside as Hunter Henry. Could be an interesting late-round grab, especially knowing that tight ends, as we've said before, if you want to hit a tight end, peaking in your lineup, there's going to be an X amount of the number that they have to hit, and I think that he could hit that. I love that Mac Jones pick. That was really, really a nice pick. All right, we're going to take Theo Johnson to go against the Raiders, Week 17. Allen Lazard, the Duke of Lazard. I wouldn't be surprised, Joe.
Well, why didn't you do the iOS?
Why don't I have the iOS? Because I don't want the iOS.
Dude, he's like the ultimate if Higgins goes down, free guy.
Yeah, could be. Could be. But he might not be.
Now, did this guy end with 4 straight tight ends? Nope.
Could just be Gesicki, to be honest, Because Gesicki, when Higgins went down, it was Gesicki. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I get you.
I don't really see, like, I'll take Yoshivas sometimes, but not all the times. Ooh, man. Do you guys think Jameis Winston plays this year? I'm taking him anyway. Little back end action.
I think Winston is the number 2 quarterback the entire season, even if Stark becomes a starter. Like, I think it would be like the way that they treated Russ in Denver. He's just not showing up after he loses the starting job.
I would absolutely take my son to a wrestling event when he's like 5. Right now, he's 1.5. I would absolutely take him to a wrestling event when he's 5. It is a lot of fun, and I would buy so many snacks that we would come back just crashed. Crazy. Magic, as we said at the top of the hour, I feel no way of any reason to take Darren Waller in most redraft leagues. I would take Darren Waller occasionally in best ball here, but it's not enough to make it feel like I don't see the reason to. You're
not going to get value out of him.
The guy with Roshan has Hunter Henry and 6 other tight ends, so I'm trying to work something. Yeah, so if you can get into Roshan because he has tight ends, I could see some value there in Roshan. But again, I'm not in on Roshan bus. I think it's better to go Manungai. But if you want to get a little piece of Roshan just to see in case he does hit it, it'd be all right. And like I said, Waller, Joe, you've said it over and over again. It's not good. He's going to be 33 this upcoming season. He's already been hurt. He's already retired. I mean, when was the last time we've seen a player retire and come back and have a fantasy relevant season? Again, if Darren Waller, Joe, can you go to where Darren Waller was drafted? It was pick 196. Now, that is almost it. That is free territory. But again,
yeah, that's fine.
Taking Waller at pick 20 would be way better. And I think people are pushing him up so much. Yeah, my son is, I want to say 16 months or going on 16 months. We're currently trying to get him to understand people. Gronk, yeah.
Look for that.
But Brady, that was for the offseason. So, yeah, Gronk. So, yeah, I mean, is Darren Waller Rob Gronkowski, though? He's shown shades of being okay those 2 seasons that we mentioned on the
Gronk wasn't out a year.
Here's the thing.
Gronk didn't leave the game for a year.
Joe.
Gronk used it as a ploy to get out of New England, but he didn't leave the game.
Yeah, here's the thing. When it comes to Darren Waller.
Oh, no, that's right. He did leave.
Yeah.
He did a year at Fox. So, yeah, Gronk. But Gronk's also the greatest tight end who's ever played.
Precisely this. Waller will never be a tenth of what Gronk does. This is especially important because Darren Waller isn't one of those guys where you say, I have to get the ball to Darren Waller. You had to get the ball to Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski was elite at his position in many different facets of the game. Darren Waller is going to fill that position of where John, again, let's face it, Jonnu was good enough before he came to Miami, and that offense made his fantasy numbers better. But when we look at Darren Waller, again, retired and injured. You look at him and you say, why did they sign him? Obviously, the coach sees something in him, but at that same point in time, what else do they see? He's cheap. He doesn't cost a lot of money.
That's exactly
so
it.
That's what they needed. They didn't sign Jonnu because they wanted to save money, and then they saved money. Doesn't mean they're going to use them. It's a huge what if story. And Bones said, I lost faith in Waller, unfortunately, when he was trying to get clean, and they shipped him to the worst place for an addict, Las Vegas. Yeah, I mean, like, when it comes to a guy
I'm not sure Las Vegas is the worst place. I think where they put Aaron Hernandez in that trailer park apartment building that Bill Belichick thought was the worst place you could put an addict. It's a little safe house here with 3 meth labs in it.
Yeah, I mean, Darren Waller's 2020 season, again, fantasy relevant in the vein of, like, here's the thing. Darren Waller's 2020 season is what we want Trey McBride and Brock Bowers' season to be, right? Yeah. Like the 9 touchdowns, 1,000 yards, 100 catches. That's what we're looking for out of Brock Bowers and McBride. And Waller is not going to do that again, because looking at the surrounding cast that he has with him right now.
Yeah, he was forced the ball that year.
Achane. You have Waddle, you have Hill, and you have Westbrook-Ikhine and Malik Washington. They're okay options on there, but I just can't get behind it. So when I look at these teams, Mike, other than my team, when we look at the top half, as we break this board down a little bit, I like a lot Team 4 in terms of the 3 running backs that they built there.
Team 4's got something.
But the lack of stacks, if you're gonna not stack a quarterback, having Hurts is one of those options that I think is okay too. Achane is a guy that I see going to Hurts a lot. So I don't think that if those are the 2 pieces that end up making it to the final, week 17, I don't know how much that's going to pay out, because I often do see the Achane. I've done it myself, the Achane, Bucky, Kyron kind of build to go with Hurts or Allen. I think the Hill versus McLaurin, I think that's okay. I would have rather seen like a stacked Hill or a stacked McLaurin, but I get keeping McLaurin away potentially against that Jane Daniels owner. I really like the potential of Joe's team with CD and Nico and Mike Evans. I think that's a really strong first 3 wide receivers. A wide receiver's probably going to be hitting his flex a lot with Mike Evans. I think that's really strong. The Fields owner here, Fields is another quarterback I don't mind stacking, but I usually go Mason Taylor late. I do too. Fields has proven that if Fields is going to throw the ball, it's going to be like it's going to be mainly 2 different ways here. Fields is either going to throw it to that 1A, like Garrett Wilson, or Fields is going to get it to the tight end. Cole Kmet had after the first couple of games that one season with Fields, had a really good back end of the season. I don't like that pick number 12 at all either. We see there that they went after 4 quarterbacks in the first 5 rounds. I really don't see that as being profitable. So I really like the start the team number 1 had. It's the Puka and Jackson Smith purchase was really good. The Jane Daniels with Justin Fields, I've seen a lot. I've seen this Jane Daniels, Justin Fields, Malik Neighbors a lot, minus the Drake London. I think the value for this guy was Brock Bowers in the 6th. Usually I've seen Brock Bowers and Trey McBride go in the 5th. So for Brock Bowers to fall to the 6th and him to still get James Conner as a starting running back, I like the setup of this team as the number 3 hole there. And number 6 here with Jamar with T and Devontae. T and Jamar, I wouldn't stack them together if I don't have Burrow. Again, there's like some diminishing returns there on the value of those guys. And with Brock Purdy and Love, I like that stack there to go with Derrick Henry. So I think a lot of these teams have decent options. My team definitely could have been better. I would have loved to have a stacking partner outside of Gesicki for Joe Burrow. But I did get a stack with Geno and then a little bit of a bring back with Theo Johnson for week 17. A little bit of some building in there with JT, Kamara, Hunter. So I think this room was relatively balanced to a degree. We didn't have, like you guys saw in our first one, you didn't have a huge run up of quarterbacks. Let me pull that room back up. Joe just left. So let me pull up the rooms that we had. So let me present my screen here. So the rooms that we just did, this was the first one. And I just want to show you guys this for Superflex purposes. This one was insane. You see, and I know, family, we've talked about this at great length. When quarterbacks start going off the board in Superflex, it's a ripple effect. And sometimes you want to join it, and sometimes you know you're not going to get anything on the comeback. Like, I could have taken Amon-Ra there. I could have taken Jacobs there and did, Jameer, Achane, Jacobs, Chase, and then Tua as my starting quarterback, and I would have been like really, really hurting there, because I'd have to take Daniel Jones on the comeback, which would have made a really weaker team. But you see here, looking at the third round, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quarterbacks went off in the third round, as opposed to this one where it was fairly balanced. You still had reasonable. Aaron Rodgers down here went in the 7th. Anthony Richardson went in the 8th. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you are forced to take a guy, and you saw me do it too, if you're forced to take a guy like Anthony Richardson in the 5th, when other people are taking him in the 8th, you are losing so much value in your selections. Same with Rodgers. Like, I take Rodgers sometimes, but I'm hesitant to do it because we're going up against people that were taking Rodgers down here in the 10th round a couple of, like, a month or two ago. Michael, I can roll out another one. It's 521. We can roll out another one. All right, guys, let's queue one up. So if you're in the chat and you want to do a Superflex right now, we are going to queue up another Superflex. This Superflex, I'm going to click enter at 5:23 Eastern. So I'm going to click enter at 5:23 Eastern. Michael, we'll queue up another one. So anybody that wants to join in, we're gonna click enter at 5:23. Yeah, and as it goes, family, looking at Darren Waller, you can't go through three career-ending injuries almost within 5 years and still be relevant for fantasy purposes. I just don't see it as being possible. So 5:23, I'm going to click enter, just so you guys know. Family, 2 QBs, 2 running backs in the first 5 rounds is a must. Rather be trolling for wide receiver and tight end after that. Yeah, I mean, you've seen me do many different styles of drafting, and I think that the most comfortable is going 2 high-end running backs with volume, and then capturing 2 quarterbacks that have huge upside. It really depends on how the draft falls to you. I'm coming around on that with Lamar too. Like, if I'm going Lamar, and Matt Stafford, or Lamar and Bryce Young, I don't really feel hurt about that as well, because Bryce Young does have some upside. Joe doesn't believe in Bryce Young, but I do. All right, enter 5:23, guys. Waiting for 2 people. Waiting for 2 people. And when it goes here, Magic. When it goes here, NFC and best from the AFC, I think I like the Rams' potential here. So let's see if you got in on this one, Mike. You didn't get in on this one, Mike. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't see it in here, Mike. That's all right. We'll get you next time, Mike. We'll get you next time. So 5:23. We're in it. I like Corum. I like Corum over Roshan, but I like Kyron overall. So I like Kyron a lot, and I would rather. Damn it, Mike. I like Corum just because I think that if Kyron were to go down, they would use him very exclusively. I know people are really high on the rookie that they just got, but I am absolutely okay with Corum. And I think that Corum in the long term probably pays out a little bit better than Roshan. You got to think like Corum was a better prospect, generally speaking, coming out of Michigan than Roshan was out of college. So, you gotta ask yourself, there's a little bit to think about in regards to that. 6th slot is interesting, family. This is the Joe Burrow, the Chase. Again, you just saw a team where I had Joe Burrow and Gibbs. So if Chase is on the board, I'll absolutely take Chase. I've done it quite a few times when I've clicked 6. I don't know if I could pass up Chase to get Burrow, but it really depends. There goes Chase. All right. We'll go Burrow again. Burrow at 6 versus Burrow at 8 is I mean, we just did one where I got Burrow in the 8th slot with Jahmyr Gibbs. So we're going to have to do a little bit of magic here with Burrow. Looking at the schedule, that we have, the stacking partners that we're looking for. Cincinnati, we're looking at Miami week 16, Baltimore week 15, Arizona week 17. So maybe getting a little bit of Derrick Henry or Devin Achane to go with this team wouldn't be a bad idea coming back around. Gibbs was sitting there for us, so we had to really buy into the Gibbs bandwagon. If we go Miami, it also opens the door to Tampa players for a week 17 stack. I think that Cincinnati-Miami game is really going to be one to look at. Again, you have Minka, who just went to Miami. Jalen Ramsey's no longer there. So that's probably going to be a barn burner. So looking at the room right now, it's pretty standard. Again, Gibbs at 11 versus Gibbs at 17. Value. So that draft, I think, is going to be very unique into some degree. Derrick Henry there at 14. I've built this team before, Gibbs versus Henry. I think we did Gibbs, Henry, and Bucky. Bucky's been flying up the boards a little bit more now, though. So again, this is a super flex draft, guys. So you see the quarterbacks going off pretty early. Justin Fields to Jefferson. That's a little bit unique in this circumstance. He's still probably going to want to build McCarthy, but it leaves him an out. Seen Patrick Mahomes, Baker so much. Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, have a little bit of that myself. Let's see how far Amon-Ra falls this draft. We'll see. I might, if Jordan Love is still there with Burrow, I might build a Jordan Love team to go along with this. I've also seen guys, Ashton Genty fall a decent amount. So we have a little bit of a week 16 correlation there with Joe Burrow and Devin Achane. Mike, keep us updated on who you're drafting, man. I'd love to see what your room turns out to be. Jamar and Malik is a decent enough combination. Probably wouldn't have went Neighbors there with Jamar. Might have grabbed a quarterback there if I was that guy. Because I think 25, 26, 27, and 28 are all going to take quarterbacks at some point in the next 6 picks. It's usually what happens here. 27, 26, and 25 are most likely going to be wide receivers. So we'll see what happens. There goes Amon-Ra. So the guy down here at pick 36 last draft getting tremendous value with Amon-Ra. Keeping yourself open to catch that value was really nice. His quarterback room was a little bit of a mess. But these are pretty standard builds up here, guys. Josh Allen, Lamar, and then getting Goff and Dak. It's pretty standard. I don't know. Let's queue up a couple of these guys here. Do I think he's going to come back around? Probably not. Maybe May. You guys know how much I love Nico, though. All right. Let's see. Nico's sitting there. All right. Let's see. What's this room look like? All right. So I think we're going to take... Yeah, Nico's fine. Got auto-picked. That's fine. Couldn't make a decision. No, I can't let Nico go past. I mean, it did auto-pick for me. Hopefully, I was thinking about Jordan Love there, family. Jordan Love's one of those guys. All right, cool, Michael. Jordan Love's one of those guys where I think he has 25-point upside if they do let him rip. If you're going Jordan Love, then you're not going Josh Jacobs. So, you know, maybe Jacobs comes back around. That pick right there, this is going to kind of, I'm going to have to go quarterback here at 43, which might prevent me from getting who I want. You know, CJ wasn't going to come back around. The quarterbacks are clearing up a little bit more. I wouldn't be mad about Stafford. Maybe I could wait to 54, but I think 44 and 53. This guy, Jameer, Derrick Henry, Bucky, and JT, you guys know I probably built that team already. We're gonna go back into the annals of history here and see what team we built there. All right, we'll click Bryce Young there. I know I had Matt Stafford queued up, but we don't often click Bryce Young, and I think he does have some upwards mobility. He definitely can get some touchdowns on the ground. And it opens the door to Tet. It opens the door to Thielen. You know, not getting a stacking partner yet with Joe Burrow like we got stuck with last time. Is this team better or worse than the Joe Burrow team that we just drafted? I don't know. I'd say it's pretty even. Geno to Bryce Young, we'll see. We'll see if they want to catch that Geno or if Geno falls. Because I was going to wait for Geno at pick 54 again. Wait for Stafford maybe to fall. But if they don't, if they get scared, because again, this room drafted quarterbacks pretty early. Brock Bowers there in the 4th. Again, we just saw Brock Bowers go in the 5th. Trey McBride in the 4th as well. So losing out a little bit on that value that they could have got somewhere else. Stafford's probably going to go here. And then 53 will probably be Geno or Cam. So this opens the door to T. Or I could get Marv. All depends. Where's Tet's value at? I might have to take Tet. Tet, you know, I wouldn't be mad about that, taking Tet there. 2 teams with no quarterbacks right now. They're definitely going to push Richardson up a little bit. I think he has to take Geno or Cam here. We'll see what he does. Yeah. Honestly, I don't actually think that Cam Ward is a bad pick as a first quarterback. But again, guys, we've been in this position before. If we get Cam Ward in the 5th round, you're taking Tyler Shook down here at 92, or you're taking Daniel Jones at 68 and 77, and it's not sexy. It's definitely not a sexy team. The one benefit, I think, to the Tennessee, to the Cam Ward Shook stack is that it is a week 17 correlation. So if you do build it, you kind of got to go all in. There goes Geno as the 3rd quarterback down here at 58. Should I have taken Chase Brown? Maybe. Should I have taken Tyreek over Bryce Young and taken Geno on the back end? Maybe. We didn't get T last time, so getting T this time feels pretty good. Again, if Burrow's making it, you're going to see a T or a Jamar in that final. So I'm hoping that I could build off of Bryce Young. Maybe I don't build Tet. Maybe I build Thielen a little bit later. I really like some of these running backs off the board. If Bryce Young's cooking, maybe Chuba does too. Maybe I take Chuba here and hope Tet falls to me. I don't see a lot of wide receivers on that end of the room, though. So I might have to push Tet here, even though I like Chuba a little bit better. Yeah, I'm curious to see what that Team 11, I'll have to take a look at it. Yeah. We're going to take Tet, sacrifice Chuba. Hopefully Henderson comes back to us. I don't really like rolling Henderson as the 2 there, but opening up the door to Tet is okay. Maybe Kamara comes back to us. James Conner will be there, I think, for the Joe Burrow bring back. I wouldn't be mad about that. All right, so let's see. Team 11 got Jameer, Derrick Henry, Bucky, JT, Aaron Rodgers, and Sam Darnold. Family, I'm telling you, man, I swear I built this team. After this draft is over, Michael, I don't think I'll be doing another one today after this because my son's about to wake up from his nap very soon. But next time I got you. But I'm gonna go back and look at this team because I swear I've made this exact same team minus Rodgers and Darnold. I think it was Shook and Cam Ward. Connor didn't make it. I knew that was gonna happen. That sucks. All right. Who do we got here from Miami? This is Tampa. Chicago, Carolina. Who do we got with Carolina? We got Tampa, Seattle, New Orleans. It would be really nice to get that. All right, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Houston. We have the Chargers, Vegas, and Arizona. It would have been really nice to get Connor there. All right, well, there goes Travion Henderson. I could probably take some falling value somewhere else. But honestly, I'm not like thrilled by anything that's on the board right now. All right, we took Ridley there. I don't really like the pick, but a lot of the guys that I really like in that position went off. Pick 91 and 102 will probably be running backs. I know I could have taken RJ Harvey there, guys, but again, RJ Harvey's not a guy that I'd be thrilled to own. Dried up real fast. Yeah, Tet wasn't the pick, but Tet also probably wouldn't have came back. The 3 wide receivers on the board would have cleared it up really fast. I would have much rather had Chuba and Calvin Ridley than Tet and Calvin Ridley, to be honest with you. Hey, Frozen, I'll get to that question in a minute. Yeah, family, I feel that. I feel for you, man. When we look at, that 5 running backs there, that was rough. You knew it was going to happen, though. I was hoping for Connor to make it back as a safety net, but that didn't happen. So we're going to have to do some magic now. I don't really like being only 1 running back deep so far because the wide receiver value is so much better. This might have to be an Aaron Jones, Tony Pollard. We'll queue up some of these guys that we know should be available. This might have to be a Travis Etienne build. We'll probably queue in Tyrone to that as well. I'm just trying to see if I can get any love with Carolina. New Orleans, Tampa, Seattle, that cleared itself out. Maybe this is a Zach Charbonnet team as well. Cincy, we got Arizona, Miami, Baltimore. I don't see anything on the board that I like in reference to that. All right. So there goes Johnson. That's fine. I mean, if Montgomery makes it to me, I would not be mad about that. Maybe this is a take a chance on Pacheco kind of team. Maybe just take Zay, call it a day. But definitely if Monty's there, I'll take Monty. All right. not a blessing, but Monty ends up falling. We should, knowing how that room cleared out the running backs pretty quickly, we should be able to get Aaron Jones back here at 102. That means I would be sacrificing Chris Godwin. But I have Godwin on a couple other teams, and I would be okay with that. Tyrone Tracy's still there if he's still there at 116, that'd be nice. This is probably going to build a Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely again. I've been building a lot of Isaiah Likely. Sharps will probably be on this team as well. So we queued up a couple of guys. Let's move them around a little bit to see what's going on. Yeah. Frozen. So am I crazy for considering trading Saquon for Gentry in a keeper league? I feel like Saquon won't repeat the season he had, and if Gentry explodes, this might be the best chance to do 1-for-1. I think that's crazy, Frozen. When I look at the values, I think that, first of all, is this dynasty? If it's dynasty, it might not be as crazy as my first initial reaction is. But if it's not dynasty and this is just a keeper league, I'm still keeping Saquon because I do think you can get a lot more value for Saquon than just Ashton Gentry. I don't see a pathway where Ashton Gentry, even in a good year, would at this moment in July, I don't see him as being able to put up the types of games that Saquon can put up. Saquon is potentially, your 30-point earner. We're going to take the falling value of Sam Laporta there. I think the team is reasonable enough that we can do that. Detroit, we have Minnesota, Steelers, Rams sometime late in the season. So maybe we can get a little bit of action on John, maybe for week 16. I think Addison's the top guy on the board right now, but we'll see if Addison ends up falling because he didn't fall too much, 105. There goes Jacoby. Jacoby's a nice get. If Tracy's there, when it's my pick, I'm taking Tracy. If ETN's there, I'll take ETN. We'll see how it falls. I love Mark Andrews in that position. I like Zach Charbonnet. I think Zach should make it to me. I pick 126. So it's not like the best running back room, but it's not bad. Yeah, when it comes to the keepers, if Gentry costs like right now, Saquon would cost you a first-round pick on certain leagues to keep. So if Saquon is going to cost you a first-round pick, maybe it's not as crazy. Just kind of compartmentalizing different things and saying, well, is Gentry going to have a great season? Maybe not. But is Gentry going to fall off the map? No, he's probably going to end up somewhere in that 6 to 8 touchdown range. Hopefully he gets over 1,000 yards. Probably will get 1,200 all-purpose yards if used correctly. If Gentry is going to cost you not a lot to keep, I would definitely try to get into Gentry, but maybe ask for a little bit more. I don't think I could do Gentry, and Jamie, you can share a little bit about this too. I don't think I could do Saquon for Gentry 1-for-1. Even with the idea that Saquon could get hurt, Saquon is still a 30-plus point earner on certain games. And Gentry, I don't think we'll be there yet on this iteration of the Raiders. Yeah, Team 11 is going whole hog. I have done that. And there's a reason to say that works, guys. Like, I've done the same thing. Worthy, Waddle, Godwin, and Golden to go along with Taylor, Bucky, Henry, and Gibbs. That's not bad. I mean, to be honest with you, I like that team a lot better than I like my own team. I think that those 4 running backs are going to just totally destroy everybody else. That's something that Joe would do, and I've done it before. But again, yeah, Jamie wants Barkley over Gentry. That's 2. I'd totally go there. I already have Jamar Chase as a 7th-round keeper, and Saquon is my 1st-round keeper. So I'm thinking about the future since Saquon is getting up in there. Yeah. So Frozen, I think that kind of answers the question. Like, Gentry definitely isn't a bad get, especially when you think about value. Genty at value versus Saquon at first round value, it opens up your first round pick. And maybe you want to go in a different direction with your first round pick. My question, there goes Zach Chart. Damn. My question to you, though, would be this. Do you see, are you serious? Do you see, who do you see yourself taking in the first round? Who's going to be available, Frozen? Who's going to be available to get in the first round? If you go out and you get Genty and you give up Saquon's value in the first round, who can you get? Because if you have a pick that could end up landing you Saquon again and you can get Saquon and Genty, I mean, sure, that sounds pretty good, right? I'm worried about Addison's possible suspension, not knowing when it can be early or late. Yeah, I think in best ball, though, that I'm willing to take a little bit more chances on Addison if he falls in value. So if Addison were to have fallen to like pick 113, 112, I think that's like a good get for Addison. Other than that, I don't think it's like terrible. And again, I'm not really happy with the way that this draft is turning out for me. These three running backs, I should have not taken Tet. I am really regretting not taking Tet. If I would have taken Chuba, I probably would have not taken Montgomery there, and I would have pushed myself into Rome. I think it would have been a better team overall. I think this is a pretty lackluster team, to be honest with you. If Spears falls, I might take Spears if he falls. Maybe we buy into Jonnu. Maybe we buy into the falling value of everybody else. 2, didn't get Sharps. That's okay. Looking at the board, this is a gross team. Getting some Cleveland, maybe. Getting some Njoku to go along with Sam Laporta. Not terrible. But yeah, if you have Chase and you're looking at and you're looking to improve that team, maybe you can go in that direction. Just tell us who else is out there. How do I feel about Ferguson this year? I feel like he should be going a couple rounds later with the addition of Pickens and depth. I have seen, actually, to be honest with you, I have seen Ferguson fall. Ferguson's one of those guys that current ADP has him at 152, but rarely do I see people taking Ferguson or Goddard at ADP unless that ADP matches up with Dak and Hurts. It's not something that's often done. And I think people think that they'd get better value of Tucker Kraft, and they're going to wait and sit on Ferguson a little bit longer. And I think that honestly, if I'm being truthful here, I could go either way on either of them. So likely is not on the board. We get Sam Laporta. Maybe I'll try for Bird in here. I've taken a lot of blue today, so maybe we build a little bit of Luther Burden in here. I'm not really loving this running back room right now. Hopefully we can get something a little bit later, catch some value. If it falls, we're going to queue up Thielen for this team too. Too many week 14 buys. Not enough. Oh, there goes Likely. Yeah, we're going to take Likely. Get that week 15 correlation there. But I don't think like Ferguson's going to have a bad year. I really don't. I think that he's going to be pretty average, and that's kind of what you're paying for. You're not paying for him to go whole hog, and he's just. I tend to like the value of Likely a little bit better, especially knowing that Lamar loves using tight ends in the red zone. I mean, is he a world beater? Not right now. But can he be? Sure, if Mark Andrews gets hurt again or something happens. When it comes to Sanders, would I take a chance on Sanders? Yeah, I think so. Does he play this year? Probably in the back half of the year if Cleveland really stinks. I think that you're going to have either Pickett or Flacco start a couple games. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, that they're one of the teams that you could see using all 4 of the quarterbacks that are on their roster. And it's not sexy. Like, it's really not sexy for them to be able to do that. if Blue or Bigsby drops, I think I have to take one of them. I know I'm sitting here with 4 wide receivers, and it kind of kills me. All right, they both went. We'll take Joe's boy. Tillman if he's there. Let's see how far Hunter Henry falls, guys. Really curious to see how far he falls. Because, again, we saw him getting – there's Tillman again. Jesus. See, you can see that Ferguson's still not off the board yet. This is not what I like. Maybe we take Gesicki here. Yeah, we'll take Gesicki here. All right. So we're going to need to do some wide receiver magic. We have 2 wide receivers week 10 bye, 1 wide receiver week 14 bye. Tight ends are all cleared up. Quarterbacks are cleared up. Running backs, we're probably going to stick with just these guys. Maybe tack on a back-end guy. This might be a Michael Wilson build, or Michael Wilson might be in this build. I like Noel as well. I could click Thornton so many times. Maybe this is a back-end Coker. We'll see how it falls. If I can get my Nungai on this team, I will too. To go 6. Shitter Sanders. Yeah, I don't like Shitter. And Joe will tell you so many times that he also is not a fan of Shitter, especially as, just sitting there. He was a fairly decent college quarterback who probably is pumped up a little bit more based upon, his dad. And I'm not sure that they're going to deal with all that nonsense. Cleveland as an organization has already dealt with so much nonsense. And I don't see them needing to continue to do that. All right, so we'll take Thielen here. There's a lot in this room. Mason Taylor still on the board. I think Mason Taylor is going to be great value. If you could get Mason Taylor for the same price as Chig, I think that's well worth it. All right, so hopefully Thielen's there. Maybe we build Michael Wilson on the comeback. I'm just not a huge fan of Michael Wilson. All right, so we got Burrow and Bryce, HM, Montgomery, Tracy, Ramondre, Spears, kind of gross. Nico, Higgins, Tet, Calvin Ridley, Thielen, Laporta, likely, Gesicki. Guys, I don't really like this team. Like, sitting here at 6, I should have a much better team. But I don't. And I can't figure out. I think it's that Tet pick. I really do. All right, let's see. Yeah, he has to get a shot. Fans will be calling for it mid-season. I mean, nobody's going to call for Dylan Gabriel, but he'll probably get a shot at some point as well. The organization, I mean, maybe Flacco helps them win a lot of games. Maybe. But it's highly unlikely that they continue to use Flacco throughout the season. I think it's highly unlikely. Again, we're not taking Mason Taylor. I do like Noel's chances here. We'll probably push Michael Wilson down 1. Who do we take instead here? All right, we can shoot out Pierce or Douglas as well, because I think that most people are pretty solid at wide receiver. Looking at the board, do we push Michael Wilson or do we wait for his ADP? All right. Let's take Douglas. All right. So we took Douglas, kind of a weaker option here, but definitely could pop for a couple things. I'm going to print a list out of all busy players and leave it out in my draft and mislead my league mates into thinking these are my guys. Hey, I've done that. I've done that quite a few times, actually. Just making a list and just being like, yeah, like some of my friends in our home league will just be talking about guys and be like, yeah, well, I really like this guy. And then they'll take them. I'll be like, jeez. Ferguson reminds me of Freiermuth, Bone says here, pre-John Shea, where he's not spectacular, but a dart throw with an okay floor. Yeah, I mean, in this, I think that he's fine enough. I mean, you look at where you get him from, pick 167. He's on an offense that should be capable of moving the ball. There goes Michael Wilson. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. So a lot of tight ends still available on the board. It's one of the reasons why, you might not want to go tight ends so early, like I did. I think the Sam Laporta pick, catching that falling value on Sam Laporta, kind of messed with some things on this team. I got 3 week 14 bye week wide receivers. Can't take Coker. So we're going to have to catch some. All right, we'll take Noel. Maybe he will pan out. I just generally think this is one of the weaker teams that we've drafted here on the show. Could hit, but catching that value of Sam Laporta wasn't really value because it did cost us like Jacoby, Godwin, and Golden. Is it worth it? I'm not really sure. DeAndre, talk about someone who doesn't do what he's supposed to do at the level that he's supposed to do it. DeAndre Ayton's one of those guys. I saw a lot of NBA trades recently, a lot of Miles Turner. Talk about getting paid. Dame Lillard not playing this year and still getting paid like $22 million buyout. That was insane. Family, yeah. Gonna pick. Yeah, I don't like. Yeah, you were in. I don't know if it was you or somebody else in the chat that we were at a. We'll have to go back. That built a Tet team. I think this is a weak team. Taking Tet there forced me to scramble a little bit on the running backs. I was gonna where I took Ramondre. I was lining up Cooper Kupp. I'd have much rather had Cooper Kupp than Ramondre there. Almost took Higgins as well. I don't know. I think that there's enough tight ends on the market that you don't always have to force tight ends into this lineup. Do we take Taj or Manungai? I am going to take another quarterback. Dealer's choice. Chat picks next quarterback. Just don't have them line up with Joe Burrow and Bryce Young's bye. Chat picks next quarterback. Who do we want? LeBron will not whip him into shape. He is more likely to do something that just complain all the time. All right, we took Manungai there. Saves the room just a little bit, I think. Yep, I did. And family, the rule states 2 running backs in the first. I actually think that the Nico pick was the pick. When we look at the entirety of the board, if we went Achane and either JT or Bucky instead of Nico, coming back and our first wide receiver being T and then moving into Tet and Ridley, that Montgomery pick could have been anybody. Hey, buddy, come here. Come here. You want to see? See what Daddy's doing? Oh, say hi. Say hi, everybody. See, everybody, we're trying to make some picks here while you drink your water. All right. We'll take Malik Willis, family. I don't mind that. We'll queue up Malik right there. And the question is, I probably should go after another wide receiver here. Who do we think has a lot of value? Maybe we take Ray Ray. Oh, don't touch that. Don't touch that. You can see yourself on the screen here, huh? Future best ball champion. Oh, see you, bud. All right, going back in the room. All right. Ray Ray or Taj? We'll take Ray Ray here. All right, so this room, again, like I said, we're going to go in and we're going to go check that team 11, by the way. We're going to see what's going on with them. So Jameer, Derrick Henry, Bucky, JT, Rodgers, Darnold, Xavier Worthy, Waddle, Godwin, Golden, and Buka. I think that team's the best team in the room. I really like that strategy. When you're sitting at the 11 spot, guys, taking 3 running backs, and JT provides you with the bonus back that you can avoid all of this. And then your next pick for running back can be down here in this conversation here. Again, all 4 of those running backs have 20-plus point upside, which you need to win. And my room just doesn't have that. I mean, I might get lucky. And again, the 0 RB, 0 RB, hero RB truthers out there, particularly the hero RB truthers, are going to be like, yeah, all these guys have a chance to click, and they can. But this 3 running back, 4 running back start, I think, is a really interesting option. It does put you behind the 8 ball in terms of the quarterback room, but Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing the whole season. He's getting paid to play the whole season. So, and Darnold is getting paid to play as well. So if they end up both falling to you, look at that, Greg Dortch as a little back end to Kyler. We're going to be taking a look at those rosters. Yeah, I mean, one of the running backs is going to sit in a super flex. Yeah, my wife and I, we actually had a date night on Saturday, or a date day on Saturday. My mom and my dad watched him. And it was, we went shopping and went to Target. We also went to Red Lobster for the first time. We had gift cards to Red Lobster. You should see the prices for the seafood boils there. They're absolutely insane. My wife made a better seafood boil at home for the price. Crazy. Yeah, if I'm going with that direction, I'm probably, like, if I'm taking Aaron Rodgers and I built Aaron Rodgers late like this, 5th round, because again, people built him in the 10th round, I'm taking Will Howard instead of Scantling or instead of Brooks. I'm taking Will Howard because I think this team is strong enough that you don't have to take Valdez-Scantling. All right, so let's go in and let's take a look at this. I got to find that Bucky team. As you guys can see, I've taken a lot of Achane recently. So that's like 3 drafts in a row where we took Achane. All right. All right, so we got this team. I had picked 4. This team was really gross, guys. A lot of interesting plays here. I think I drafted this a couple days ago. This was Hurts, Henry, Bucky, and Jacobs all fell. Beautiful. Love that. Took T and Marv as a bring back stack. Devonta Smith to go with them. Went with Shook and Olave as a nice little play. Downs. I think this is a really strong team. To have Ramondre here as, Ramondre as the 4th running back when those 3 are so strong. I think this roster is much better than the roster we just constructed. Again, Jonnu is now a Steeler. I had Zach Wilson in this lineup. Goddard and Chig. I like this team. I think this team is really strong. Comparing him to the Hurts team that we just drafted, that was just in the last draft that we had. This Hurts team has Ashton Jeanty, Drake May, and Penix. I think we have a leg up on them for the purposes of that draft. But I'm looking for that one. I think we did that one live. There's Achane and Bucky. This one's a gross one. 7 running backs. This team isn't going to win anything. I drafted from the 9 hole here. The wide receiver room's a little bit better. I don't really like that team at all. There's Devin Achane and Bucky. There's Derrick Henry, Irving, Bucky. All right. This one's kind of nuts. I don't know if we drafted this one on air or not, guys. This was Bijan, Bucky, Taylor with Bo, Rice, Adams, Sutton, Worthy. Russell Wilson was our 2nd quarterback to go with Tyrone. A lot of different value here. Ingram, again, in the 11th, I think is good if you're going Bo Nix. Mason Taylor as a back-end tight end. I think is a great option. Like looking at the Rodgers team, Sam Darnold here at 59. Like if you go to where the Rodgers team is in this one, he has 4 quarterbacks. So Rodgers is never going to, if Rodgers punks out and gets like 40 points a week, that'd be pretty good. All right. Yeah, I mean, this is like close. Bijan, Bucky, and JT. What was theirs? Theirs was Jameer, Henry, Bucky, JT. Okay, let's go back and see. I know I have it, but take a look. I'll probably go off air and look for it because it's here. I know it is. All right, guys. Well, we'll be with you on Monday, 3:45 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be doing an eliminator on Monday. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be popping into some DraftKings drafts. So if you want to join us for any drafts, we're going to do an eliminator, probably two eliminators on Monday. Totally different strategy. We'll talk about the strategy, and we'll see you guys 3:45 on Monday. Thanks for joining, everybody.